I think it's important to speak to why it matters that we take the leadership for federal prosecution. And as I've said on many occasions in this very room, there are three principal reasons. The first is that many times we can gain far lengthier sentences for these crooks, these criminals in the federal system. The second reason is that each of these persons in the federal system will be required to serve 85% of their sentence as opposed to 50%, which is the typical setup in the state system. And third, and certainly not least, is the fact that the United States Bureau of Prisons has facilities all over the United States. So we can take a Villa Posse gang member and send him to Kentucky, Georgia, West Virginia, Kansas. In other words, he's not just down the road here at Corcoran or at Wasco or at Folsom, where that ability to maintain the connection and the tie to the gang can continue to exist. And it's a very real means for us to take that gang tie and sever it for all time. We are very pleased to be part of this operation. We are very grateful for the opportunity to work with outstanding law enforcement organizations like the Fresno Police Department and the Fresno County District Attorney's Office. I do want to single out my Assistant United States Attorney, Kim Sanchez, who's been our point person on this operation. She does a marvelous job in bringing the right people for federal prosecution so that we can do all that we can to help the mayor, the chief, the district attorney, and the councilwoman ensure that the citizens of this city can be absolutely as safe as they can be as they go about raising their families, going to work, and doing the things that we all enjoy as Americans. Thank you very much.
You know, we have a prison, what they say to be an overcrowding situation in the state of California, so we're grateful that McGregor is going to help us relieve some of that prison overcrowding by taking our local criminals, put them in the federal prison system. And the other individual that, you know, our work, although not complete, much of our work has been done in terms of the arrest. And yet there's a lot of work to be done on the state side. And that's where the district attorney's office comes in terms of having to, we talked about 84 people that have been arrested on felony charges. Well, 13 of those are being handled by the federal system. The remaining of those are being prosecuted at the state level. And so that is an incredible burden that we put upon the DA's office. But Elizabeth Egan understands the importance of getting these individuals not just off the streets and out of our county jails, but into prison, especially those that deserve to be there. So I'm going to have Elizabeth Egan come up and talk about that.
Thanks. And thank you for that acknowledgement, Chief. I really appreciate it. Just to recap what the Chief started with, this is a landmark day in Fresno. This is a very important day. And when you have a chance to go over your notes, you'll see just how deep this operation went into clearing up a huge criminal enterprise in Fresno. This kind of operation would not be successful without the full cooperation of our law enforcement partners. Collaboration expands the network of resources, which are always scarce in law enforcement, and gives us this ability to combat criminal street gangs. We wouldn't be standing here today announcing this successful operation if it were not for the hard work and expertise of Magic prosecutor Jeff Dupras and the two that he worked very closely with, Detective Jose Rivera and Sergeant Dennis Lowry. Those people put in a lot of hours, and Jeff behind the scenes putting the work together that allowed the arrest to take place. I don't want to belabor this. I think when you review, you'll see that the long-range effect of these arrests and the prosecutions that will be done in the federal system and here in Fresno County are going to bring a huge measure of safety and peace to neighborhoods throughout this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And next, you know, I get a lot of pressure put on me at times about keeping our streets safe and so forth, not just from the citizens of Fresno, but from the guy above me, our mayor. And he has come forth with a vision of a drug-free Fresno. We're going to carry that vision out long after he leaves office. And that is something that is near and dear to all of us in Fresno. And this is an incredible step towards that. And so at this time, I'd like to have our Mayor Autry come forth.
Thank you, Chief. First of all, I want to thank Gregor Scott for all the help that you've given to the city of Fresno, this valley. We get ignored in a lot of areas, including crime prevention and over the years, and you've certainly broken that mold. And I want to thank you, Beth. Thank you for everything you do day in and day out to do what has to be done to keep the streets safe. Chief, another effective operation. Fellows back here, I really want to thank you because you go out and do the work that you have in your job description, but you got to put your life on the line for us. You and the firemen are the only city employees that have to do that. That's very, very special. Somewhere along the line, somebody touched you. It was your mom, your dad, a mentor, or a teacher. Somebody put a servant's heart in you that we are now reaping the rewards of. Our children, me, everybody in this community. So on behalf of me and the community and our children and grandchildren who are going to reap those rewards of a safer Fresno, thank you, because you get in the trenches and do it every day. You know, the city of Fresno is a model city on how to effectively fight crime, violent crime, in particular gang activity. The governor has mentioned that, McGregor, the president has made note of that. And one aspect of that is our strategy, the central core aspect of it. And we call it the hammer and hope. A lot has been written recently about the hope aspect, as rightfully it should be, been reported on. Giving second chance education, second chance job training, some mental health counseling. I guarantee you every one of these folks that were rattled off there, somewhere along the line something tragically went wrong to send them down the path. And we're proud that we have those options to gang activity. But we also know without the hammer, and that's what we're talking about today, the hope aspect doesn't work nearly as effectively. The numbers bear that out. And when I took office, I think my very first press conference, I was focused on providing pathways out of gangs, hope, light. My heart aches for anybody that would throw their life away into a violent life of gangs and drugs. But I raised my right hand and I swore an oath to the law-abiding people of the city of Fresno that they must come first if you make a choice between that individual being on the streets and that individual being arrested, put behind bars if they choose not to change their lifestyle. And the hammer came down hard today. For months this has been weaving this case together, and people say, why does it take so long? Because you want to make sure, Beth will tell you, and McGregor, that the charges stick. You got to have the information. And so today, the streets of Fresno are safer, much safer, and we rejoice in that. But there's a void now in that Villa Posse gang. And there's young people on the streets right now who are going to make a decision whether to head for hope and get out of gangs or go fill that void in the Villa Posse gang. I would like to talk to them in my final comments here, because I don't know how many times I'll get a chance to have this stage to do this. You really do have a choice to turn your life around. One way to hope is light, a better life, a way to come in your community, back, get educated, come back in your community and do something really positive, to do something for your mama, your dad, your grandma, to really turn your life around and affect so many people in a positive way. But if you go the other way, the hammer is going to be there, and you will more than likely, in most probability, suffer the same fate to these 84 people that we mentioned today. So my hope is that the Villa Posse gang is wiped out. And again, I call on those young people out there that are making those decisions to make the right decision.